Look at it. The perfect combination of carbohydrates, fats, and umami. It is the world's most successful food. It transcends borders, languages, and economic classes. 350 slices are eaten every single second in the US alone. It's comfort food, party food, and hangover food all rolled into one. You think you know pizza. You know you like it. You know it's Italian. You know the basics. But what if I told you that almost everything you know about the history of pizza is a carefully constructed lie? What if I told you its most iconic ingredient was considered poison for 200 years? That its most famous origin story is likely a marketing fabrication? And that the most popular topping in the world is an American imposter that doesn't even exist in Italy? Today, we aren't just eating pizza, we're interrogating it. We are peeling back the layers of melted mozzarella to find the strange history, the surprising science, and the bizarre economic truths hidden in the crust. Welcome to Secret Facts HD. Let's grab a slice of the truth. Part 1. The Poison Apple and the Ancient Imposters. If you define pizza as flatbread with stuff on top, then pizza is older than the Colosseum. The ancient Egyptians had it. The Greeks had plakos, flatbread topped with herbs, onion, garlic, and cheese. Even the Persian army under Darius the Great used their metal shields to bake flatbreads covered in cheese, and dates over open fires in the 6th century BC. It was the original MRE. But let's be honest, that's not pizza, that's fancy toast. True pizza requires one crucial element, the tomato sauce. And this is where the history gets complicated. Because for centuries, Italy and all of Europe didn't have tomatoes. Tomatoes are native to the Americas. They didn't arrive in Europe until the Columbian Exchange in the 1500s. And when they did arrive, nobody wanted to eat them. Why? Because botanists correctly identified them as members of the Solanaceae, or nightshade family. They are botanical cousins to deadly nightshade and mandrake. For nearly 200 years, rich Europeans grew tomatoes purely as ornamental garden plants, convinced that eating them would turn your blood to acid or simply kill you on the spot. It took the poor, starving peasants of Naples, the Lazzaroni, who were desperate enough to eat anything, to realize the poison apple was actually delicious. By the late 1700s, they were mashing these New World fruits onto flatbreads, adding oil and garlic. This finally was the proto-pizza. It was street food for the poorest people in one of Europe's most densely populated cities, and the upper classes despised it. Part 2. The Royal Lie, Debunking the Margherita. Now we arrive at the most famous story in pizza history, the legend of the Margherita. You know this one. The year is 1889. King Umberto I and Queen Margherita of Savoy visit Naples. They are tired of fancy French cuisine and want to try the local peasant food. They summon the city's best pizzaiolo, Raffaele Esposito. To honor the queen, he creates a pizza in the colors of the newly unified Italian flag: red tomatoes, white mozzarella, and green basil. The queen loves it, sends him a thank you note, and boom, pizza becomes the national dish of Italy. It's a beautiful story of culinary patriotism. It's also probably complete nonsense. Modern historians argue this story is likely early marketing genius by Esposito. There's evidence that pizza with those exact toppings existed in Naples for decades before the queen showed up. It just wasn't named after her yet. Esposito was likely just a savvy businessman who capitalized on a royal visit to rebrand an existing product. He didn't invent the combination. He just gave it the best possible celebrity endorsement. It was the 1889 equivalent of getting an Instagram shout-out from Beyoncé. Part 3. The American Invention and the Pepperoni Deception. Even after the Queen's supposed endorsement, pizza remained a super-regional, southern Italian thing. If you went north to Milan or Venice in the 1930s, you wouldn't find pizza. The global explosion of pizza didn't happen because of Italy. It happened because of World War II. American soldiers stationed in Italy got a taste for the local Neapolitan dish. When they came home, they craved it. This demand birthed the American pizza industry, which took the delicate Neapolitan original and supersized it, loaded it with sugar and preservatives, and standardized it for mass consumption through chains like Pizza Hut and Domino's. But the biggest American contribution to pizza is a lie that most people still believe today. Pepperoni. It is the single most popular pizza topping in the world. We consume hundreds of millions of pounds of it a year. It feels quintessentially Italian. But if you go to Italy and order a pizza with pepperoni, spelled with one P, the waiter will bring you a pizza covered in bell peppers. Part 4. The physics of the cheese pull. We've covered history, now let's talk science. Why is pizza so addictive? It comes down to physics and chemistry. Let's look at the cheese pull. That satisfying stretch isn't just luck, it's molecular engineering. Mozzarella cheese contains a protein called casein. In solid cheese, casein proteins are bunched up in little balls held together by calcium. When you heat mozzarella to about 180 degrees Fahrenheit, 82 degrees Celsius, the heat breaks some of those calcium bonds. The protein balls unravel into long strings that tangle up with fat and water molecules. When you pull a slice, you are physically stretching that microscopic protein net. If there's too much fat, like in cheap cheddar, the net slips and breaks. No stretch. Too much protein, and it's tough and rubbery. Mozzarella is the Goldilocks of cheese physics. And the crust? That amazing smell of baking bread is the Maillard reaction. It's a chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives brown food its distinctive flavor. But pizzerias have a secret weapon. They often bake at incredibly high temperatures, up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, 480 degrees Celsius, in wood-fired ovens. This intense heat causes leopard spotting, those charred black blisters on the crust. That char provides a bitter counterpoint to the sweet sauce and salty cheese, creating a complex flavor profile your brain finds irresistible. Part 5. The pizza principle and space delivery. Pizza is so deeply embedded in our culture that it has even become an economic indicator. In New York City, there is a bizarre phenomenon known as the pizza principle. For nearly 50 years, the price of a standard slice of cheese pizza has almost perfectly matched the cost of a single subway ride. If the subway fare goes up, New Yorkers know the price of a slice is about to jump too. Economists have studied it, and it holds up surprisingly well. It's perhaps the only economic index you can eat for lunch. And finally, pizza has left the atmosphere. In 2001, Pizza Hut paid the Russian space agency about $1 million to deliver a 6-inch salami pizza to the International Space Station. It was the ultimate delivery fee. But the future is even wilder. NASA has funded the development of 3D printers designed to print pizza for long-haul missions to Mars. The printer lays down dough, powdered tomato sauce, and cheese layer by layer, which is then cooked in minutes. The first meal eaten on the red planet might just be a pepperoni pie printed by a robot. Part 6. The engineering of delivery, the box and the table. We've talked about history, chemistry, and economics. Now let's talk logistics, because the greatest enemy of pizza isn't pineapple, it's steam. The moment a 900-degree pizza goes into a cardboard box, it starts dying. Heat escapes, creating steam. That steam hits the cold top of the box, condenses into water, drips back down, and turns your glorious, crispy crust into a sad, soggy mess within minutes. The modern pizza box is actually an unsung engineering marvel. It has to be a thermodynamic balancing act. It needs corrugated layers for insulation to keep heat in, but it also needs precisely engineered vents to let just enough steam out so the pizza doesn't sweat to death. But even the best box couldn't solve the biggest problem of the 1980s: cheese collapse. Before 1985, if you ordered a large hot pizza, the steam would weaken the cardboard lid. The center would sag and collapse right onto the hot cheese, ruining the pie. It was a delivery massacre. Enter Carmela Vitale, a 46-year-old woman from New York. In 1985, she patented the package saver, that little white plastic tripod stool that sits in the middle of your pizza. It's a simple piece of structural engineering designed solely to hold the roof up. Carmela Vitale is the unsung hero who saved millions of pizzas from a tragic, cheesy death. Conclusion and call to action: from ancient Egyptian flatbreads to poisoned tomatoes, from royal marketing scams to American fake sausage, and finally to 3D printing on Mars. The story of pizza isn't just about food. It's a story about globalization, immigration, war, science, and human ingenuity. It's a dish that constantly reinvented itself to survive, becoming whatever we needed it to be. Pizza is the ultimate mutt, and that's why we love it. But the culinary investigation doesn't stop here. There are plenty more food myths to bust. Which iconic food should we dissect next? Should we take a bite out of the burger, how German steak became an American icon? Or should we unwrap tacos, the ancient history and modern myths of the tortilla? Let us know your vote in the comments below. And if you learned something new today, smash that like button. Think of it as tipping your delivery driver. Subscribe for more deep dives, and I'll see you next time.